Okay, so it's clickbait, but it's actually not. You read the title, you came here, you clicked on it because you said, holy crap, there's no way Amazon can go out of business or go bankrupt. But the truth of the matter is, Amazon's CEO, founder, majority percentage stockholder, Jeff Bezos, richest guy in the world, 160 billion. Somebody can look that up. It's probably more by now. He makes like $1 billion a week or something stupid. Has said on his call that it is possible that Amazon could grow too big, too fast, and eventually go bankrupt. So a lot of questions that I get every time I do a story about Amazon moving into the grocery business or the pharmaceutical business or whatever is that Amazon's taken over the world. And then the response, the rebuttals that I get is that Amazon is a monopoly, or that the government, the Department of Justice, is going to have to step in and stop them from becoming too big. Well, here's kind of why that's not happening yet, and it's going to lead into why Jeff Bezos said that it's possible that Amazon could go out of business and go bankrupt eventually. A monopoly means that somebody doesn't have choices. There's no competition or reasonable competition. So the Department of Justice operates under what's called the Sherman Act. It was written way back 100, 200 years ago, whatever it was, under President Harrison and one of, I believe, a Senator Sherman. And so way back in the 90s, you guys may remember, Microsoft, after Bill Gates became a super billionaire, was sued by the Department of Justice and other companies, and it resulted in an antitrust monopoly lawsuit and court case in federal court, I think at the Supreme Court level, against Bill Gates and Microsoft. Now, the reason that Bill Gates, this is a history lesson, fast forward if you want, but the reason that they claimed Microsoft was a monopoly and didn't allow competition is because every time you bought a computer with Windows on it, which was every Windows computer, at the time Mac wasn't like it is now, that didn't really exist. There were other competitors. There were Linux, and Apple sort of had an imprint, and IBM and all that stuff. But every time you bought a Windows computer, it automatically came with Internet Explorer on it, IE, which still to this day, it still comes with that. And so the government and the competitors claim that Microsoft was forcing a customer to, once they bought Windows, to use Internet Explorer. And if you tried to use something else, you guys might remember Netscape or Juno or things like that, that you didn't have an option to use a different Internet Explorer, so you had to use it. So some people might say, well, you know, I like to use Amazon, but sometimes I want to buy my cell phone cases from eBay. I love everything else on Amazon, but I want to be able to go somewhere else if I want something different. And so you can. Just because you're an Amazon Prime member or an Amazon customer does not limit you to where you can get things. You can buy all of your groceries and electronics off Amazon, and you can go over to Poshmark or eBay or Mercari and buy all your clothes or your shoes. There's no monopoly here. Amazon doesn't own or control any one individual market. Now, they are responsible for putting a lot of companies out of business, or at least playing a part in that. But they are not the only option. You have an option. And this is why the DOJ, the Department of Justice, and the U.S. government cannot file an antitrust lawsuit or a monopolization lawsuit against Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Yet. Now, if Jeff Bezos was to put every single Best Buy and every single electronics store out of business, and the only place you could go to get your Apple computers was Best Buy or Amazon rather than Best Buy or Apple or something like that, it could start to reach that point. And so Jeff Bezos understands that just organically, naturally, through what Amazon is doing, he may eventually put all of one industry or one sector out of business to where he is the only option. And if that happens, whether he's trying to do it or whether he's not, then it would become a monopolization antitrust issue, and the government could go after him like they did Microsoft. Now, the reason that Microsoft succeeded is because Microsoft did not rely on any one source of income. Windows is, of course, Microsoft's key product, and it's where they made a boatload of money. But Microsoft also, at the time, was doing, personal computers, software. They were doing a ton of different things. Security. They're now in the cloud business. Microsoft has a ton more business than a lot of people know. Xbox, video gaming, business, online Microsoft Business, Excel, spreadsheets, Word, the home office programs. They had a lot of different programs. So they were able to weather the storm. It cost Bill Gates a lot of money. He spent hundreds of millions of dollars in legal fees and fines and getting split, and you can look that whole thing up. But Jeff Bezos isn't there yet, and he realizes that, one day back early in the 90s, Bill Gates said, "I'm not there yet either." but I could be. And so Amazon sees the future and sees what could happen. Now, in Jeff Bezos' own words, Amazon, most businesses and big enterprises only have a 30-year shelf life. Amazon is already 20 years old, which is crazy. He's basically saying in the next 10 to 15 years, Amazon may have an issue and may start on the downslide, and that they have to try to delay that as long as possible. You know, he says companies don't make it 100 years anymore. Ford and Chevy and all these companies that made it a long time, it just doesn't exist anymore. And he's right. He's 100% right. You know, the Macy's are all going out of business. 100 years, you know, Macy's been around, and Sears and all these companies. And so we'll see whether this is just a centrillion billionaire guy talking out of his other side, or whether he's serious, whether he has some inside information that you and I may not know, that he realizes there are challenges ahead for Amazon. Is Amazon going to go out of business tomorrow? No. Are they going to go out of business next year, in 2 years, in 5 years? No. It's going to be somewhere down the road if they ever have an issue. I believe Amazon will be around much longer than Bezos thinks. They're just so big they can't fail, but then again, you know, those big car companies were so big they couldn't fail either, and they did, and had to get the government to bail them out. Now, Amazon's leverage and power and stake and everything could earn them a bailout at some point from somebody. I don't know that anybody would ever let Amazon completely tank and go under. The name is just too valuable. But with that said, it's kind of a look into the future, and it goes back into one of the things I've told you guys: don't ever have all of your eggs in one basket. Microsoft survived because they had a ton of different avenues. Amazon has a ton of different avenues. I think they'll be okay. I have a friend who was selling on Amazon up until last week, literally a week ago, all of his merchandise on Amazon. He sold on other platforms, but Amazon was it. Bam! He got a fraudulent claim from a customer that his item was not authentic. It was 100% authentic. I know him. I know he sells only good items. But just because a customer said it, Amazon shut him down. He's been shut down for 10 days. And there's no telling whether he's going to get put back up or not. He put all of his eggs in one basket. Now, he's since putting all of his inventory over on eBay. He's selling. He's doing okay. But he lost a lot of money. And so I think what Jeff Bezos was hinting at for entrepreneurs and business owners is never ever have everything in one basket. Make sure you're spreading yourself out so that if something happens somewhere, you can ditch whatever it is that's an issue and focus on everything else. And so with that clickbait title, whether you think it's clickbait or not, save it. Don't put it in the comment section. I don't care. It's not clickbait. It's exactly what Jeff Bezos said. Amazon could go out of business and go bankrupt. Anyways, read the story. I'll link it below. It's blowing up all over the internet. He was on a like an earnings call or a meeting call or some kind of voice call with like tons of people, and that's what he said. And the whole phone call apparently went dead silent, and they were trying to figure out if he was serious. So he's a super smart guy. If you don't know, Jeff Bezos is probably one of the smartest guys in the world. Put him up there with Buffett and Gates and Zuckerberg and all those. I mean, Bezos is not a dumb guy, obviously, by any stretch of the imagination. So he knows, he sees it. I'm sure he talks to Gates. I'm sure he talks to the government. And we'll have to just wait and see over the next 5 years, 10 years, what happens to Amazon. What do you think will happen to Amazon in the next 5 or 10 years? Do you think they'll get too big, that they'll just too big too fast? Do you think the government will step in? Do you think they'll make mistakes? Do you think they'll make a big mistake and collapse? Do you think they'll just keep growing infinitely? Put it down in the comment section below. I'm interested. What do you guys think about Amazon and how big they've grown and how fast they've got there and all the different things that they're doing? In the meantime, enjoy your weekend. It's Friday. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. I just got back from getting my car back, so that's awesome. And I'm going to have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to make some videos for you guys, make some content, and if you need anything, I am doing this weekend only again. Until next time, I'm doing free store reviews. Absolutely free. Email me, rockstarflipper@gmail.com. Link me your store or any one active item, and I will take a look at it and tell you what I see, what I like, what I don't like, what you should do, what you're not doing, all that good stuff. It is absolutely free. Of course, if you want to donate, it'll be in the email with my PayPal. It's not necessary, but it is appreciated because it does take a lot of time for me to go through these stores. So I really do appreciate, even if it's just a couple dollars, every little bit is awesome. So thanks guys so much. I'll see you next time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Adios.